you this week. This week, we're continuing our series called Indescribable, a theme where we've been talking all month long about the word creativity. Creativity is imagining what you could do because you're made in God's image. Before we jump into our worship and our lesson taught today entirely by Mr. Alex, let's play a game. If you were here last week, you might remember this game. It's called Hair Drop. Your job is to guess which hairstyle will drop on the celebrity. Think you can guess these indescribable hairstyles? Let's see. Now that's what I call creativity. Oh, and speaking of creativity, let's review this month's memory verse. It's from Psalm 145:3 and says this: Lord, you are great. You are really worthy of praise. No one can completely understand how great you are. Great job. Let's try it one more time. Lord, you are great. You are really worthy of praise. No one can completely understand how great you are. In today's story, we're going to hear about a man who needed some help. But lucky for him, he had some friends who led him right to Jesus. But before we jump in, let's count down so that we can sing and dance together. Count down with me. 3, 2, 1.
Darkness run and hide, you bring the broken back to life. Only you can, only you can. You set me free from every chain, you fill my heart with songs of praise. Only you can, only you can. Jesus, you're the only reason that I'm even breathing. I am wide awake. My heart beats only for your glory. My hands reach up for you to hold me. My soul sings, Father, you are holy. My feet dance to your rhythm, to your rhythm. Every beat is calling out your name. You left the glory of your throne to bring this runaway back home. Only you can, only you can. You give me love, you give me life, you keep me dancing through the night. Only you can, only you can. My heart beats only for your glory.
worship you. Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. Whoa, Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. You are here, touching every heart. I worship you. I worship you. You are here, healing every heart. I worship you. I worship you. Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. Whoa, Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. You are here, turning lives around. I worship you. I worship you. You are here, mending every heart. I worship you. I worship you. Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. Whoa, Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. Whoa. Whoa. Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. Sing along now. Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. Whoa, Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. That is who you
Hey friends, Mr. Alex, here to tell you today's story. Today's story is about this guy named Jesus. Maybe you've heard of him. Waymaker, miracle worker, Son of God. The guy who came and saved us. Well, before he came and saved us and did all that, Jesus was super popular. He would travel from town to town to town. And whenever he got to a town, everybody would jump up and run to go see him. They'd be so excited. Some of them would come because they were hungry. Some would come because they were sick. And some would come because they really wanted to hear about this God that Jesus was talking about and how to be saved. Well, Jesus came to a town called Capernaum. And just like everywhere, people came, they jumped up, they ran to come see him at the house where he was staying. They were so excited. Everybody came except for this one guy. This one guy, he couldn't jump up to see Jesus. He couldn't run to come see him. He couldn't even walk. This man, all he could do was just lay on his mat. He couldn't get up. Now this man had 4 friends, and they knew that if they could get their friend to see Jesus, that Jesus would help him. So they worked together. Each one of the 4 friends took a corner of this man's mat and they picked it up and they carried it over to the house where Jesus was speaking. When they got there, there were so many people pouring out the doors and windows of the house. There was no way they could get in. The friends thought. One of them said, What if we pick him up and he can crowd surf to Jesus? One of the other friends said, what if we find two foxes, tie their tails together, and light them on fire? Everyone will run away, and then we can get to Jesus. Another friend said, what if we try to go on the roof? That seemed like the best idea. So they carried him together up to the roof. The four friends pushed the heavy tiles aside to open a hole right above where Jesus was. Jesus looked up and saw them, and so did a bunch of religious leaders and townspeople who were probably pretty confused about why the roof was opening. The four friends carefully lowered the man down on his mat. When he was on the ground, Jesus looked at him. He looked at the man. You might think Jesus was angry at being interrupted, or at least surprised. But Jesus said, my son, you've done well. Your sins are forgiven. This made some of those religious leaders who were listening to Jesus mad. You may have heard that these leaders, they were looking for a reason to get Jesus in trouble. They thought in their brains, he can't say that someone's sins are forgiven. Only God can do that. What does this guy think he's doing? But Jesus, who is God, knew their thoughts. He said, why are you thinking these things? What's harder, for me to say his sins are forgiven, or for me to tell him, hey, get up, take your mat, and walk home? The leaders didn't know what to say. Jesus looked at the man, and the man looked at Jesus. The crowd looked at the man, and the man looked at the crowd. And slowly, he sat up. Then he stood up. He picked up his mat, and he walked home, just like Jesus had told him. It was a miracle. The man and his friends were so excited. Jesus had helped them. They were able to work together to get to Jesus. And they would never have been able to do it by themselves. Friends, we can each do great things by ourselves, but when we work together, we can do even more. Our bottom line for today is that God created you to work with others. Remember that you can work with other people to do great things, and we can all do great things to serve God.
You can accomplish a lot by being creative. You can cure diseases, you can design buildings, you can do all sorts of things. But here's a little secret. You can almost always accomplish more by being creative with others. Other people can help you come up with ideas you've never had. Other people can help put your ideas to work faster and better than you can do on your own. And just like in our story of the friends who helped the man who couldn't walk, other people can help you solve your problems. And when the problem is big, other people can lead you to Jesus. No problem is too big for Jesus. When we're creative, we reflect who God is to the people around us. And when we work with others, we use our unique creative talents with the unique creative talents of other people to show the world just how uniquely creative God is. That's the one thing I want you to remember this week. God created you and I to work with others. Let me say that one more time. God created you and I to work with others. And when we do, some pretty indescribable things can happen. Friends, stay connected. I can't wait to see you next time, and hopefully at Summer Sunday too. See you later, friends.